Up here in the front?
Oh, wait. And there's one in the back, then one more on Zoom.
Thank you, dear.
What's
Hi
your
there.
name, please?
My name is George Santos.
Yeah, you win, you win the award for
No, I'm
that.
Nicole. I was very struck to hear both of you say that your engagement with the scene came to an end after you had each experienced an extreme loss. And initially, the scene is energized by rage because so many of the people involved had suffered physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, as you were saying. And yet the abuse was never acknowledged, never spoken of. So the grief that should have articulated itself at the abuse was buried. And when you both suffered a loss later on, the grief came out. And once the grief came out, the rage was dissipated.
Yeah.
And the engagement with the scene came to an end. Does that make sense? Does that sound plausible
Completely.
to
And
you?
going to shows, I used to feel like like I always had noise in my head, and I'd go to the show, and it would do that. It would relieve some of that, noise. Wow, that's very cool what you just said.
But it was getting in touch with grief
Yeah.
that enabled the rage to come to an end and took out the energy that engaged you in the scene.
And my family never dealt with my brother's death either.
Really?
No, they just didn't. So I didn't go back there, but I did leave this place, that was my family. So that's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense, hon?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it hits that sore spot where I want to cry. So I know it's definitely, how could I sing about like, you're not crazy institutional sticking, I'm the one who's crazy in, when it's just like, yeah, that's like finally you're in touch with that grief.
I saw a pretty cool documentary.